Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles.
I was cheated on, humiliated, and called an infertile failure, so I exposed them all. I should have known it would come to this. Actually, I did know from the moment the invitation to my brother Noah's wedding landed in my mailbox. It wasn't so much an invitation as it was a summons, a perfectly staged production where every family member had a scripted role. Noah, as always, the golden child. Me, the family disappointment. But I went anyway. Not out of hope. Not out of some yearning to be accepted. Not even for my brother. I went because I had a plan. But before we get to that, let me tell you how I ended up here. I walked into the Grand Belmont Ballroom, one of the city's most lavish venues. A massive crystal chandelier sparkled overhead, dangling like a show of dominance. The tables were laid with golden-rimmed plates, overflowing white roses, and top-shelf wine. Every inch of the space screamed wealth and status. Exactly the kind of show Noah and our parents, Charlie and Rachel, thrived on. I took a steadying breath. This wasn't my world. It never had been. Ronan. The name sliced through the hum of the crowd. I turned and saw my mother, Rachel, standing by the entrance. Her gold sequin gown shimmered, her hair perfectly sculpted, every detail of her appearance screaming control. She looked me over, lips tightening. "You could have dressed up a bit more," she said, her tone cool and clipped. I glanced down at my navy blue suit, simple, clean, appropriate. "Didn't realize there was a uniform," I replied, voice even. She made a faint disapproving sound. "Well, at least you showed up. Try not to cause a scene." And just like that, she turned and vanished into the crowd. Try not to cause a scene. Funny, really. As if I'd ever been the one seeking drama. As if I were the problem. I moved through the ballroom, navigating a sea of grinning investors, smug family friends, and polished nobodies. I knew exactly why I was invited. To be paraded as the cautionary tale. The black sheep. The screw-up. And soon, they'd make sure everyone remembered. I reached table 14 tucked in the back, far from the head table. I was surrounded by third cousins and distant acquaintances, carefully seated out of view, out of relevance. A waiter topped off my champagne. I held the glass loosely, the cool stem grounding me. Then the lights dimmed. Music faded. A spotlight illuminated the large screen at the front of the room. Noah stood, tuxedo sharp, microphone in hand, his grin polished to perfection. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he said, his voice smooth and practiced. "It means so much to share this moment with our closest friends and family. And as a treat, I put together a little something for all of you, some memories, some laughs, and a lot of love." Applause. Excitement. I took a slow sip of my drink. I knew exactly where this was headed. The screen lit up. First, photos of Noah and his bride, Julia, on vacations, at award ceremonies, hugging our parents. The crowd gushed. Then came photos of Noah and our parents. Noah's first baseball game. Noah graduating from Harvard. Noah closing his first real estate deal. Noah shaking hands with a business mogul. Noah, 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 always the golden boy. Then the slideshow shifts. A picture of me flashes on the screen. The caption beneath it is bold, unmistakable. Infertile, divorced, failure, high school dropout, low income, single. For a moment, there's nothing but silence. Then laughter. It erupts across the room, sharp, cruel, uncontrollable. Noah's grin widens, basking in the moment. "Come on, don't laugh too hard," he says, voice dripping with mockery. He might cry. My mother takes a sip of her wine. My father, Charlie, chuckles quietly. My ex-wife Olive smirks. The laughter ripples through the crowd like a wave. Snickers from cousins. A whispered pathetic from an old family friend. Someone clinks their glass in mock celebration. I sit in silence, my grip tightening around my phone. Not yet, Ronan. Not yet. I feel the eyes on me. Watching. Waiting. Waiting for me to break. Waiting for me to confirm everything they've ever believed. But I don't break. Because this moment is exactly what I planned for. Noah keeps talking, but his voice fades into background noise, drowned out by the pulse pounding in my ears, the electricity coursing through my veins. I glance at the screen one last time, locking the image in my memory. Then, I pull out my phone. I press a button. My voice is calm, steady as I begin. The room quiets instantly. The screen flickers. It glitches. The slideshow crashes. And then, a new image appears. Bold white letters illuminate the screen under the spotlight. "Breaking free. The reality of emotional abuse by family." The laughter dies in an instant. Confusion sweeps across the ballroom like a sudden chill. My mother lowers her glass. My father straightens in his chair. Olive's smile fades. Noah's practiced confidence begins to crack. People start whispering, shifting in their seats. Then, in the corner of the screen, a notification appears. Live viewers, 200, 460,000. The number keeps climbing. A new message flashes across the screen, undeniable, bold. A comment from Olive's fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. I look up. My eyes lock with Noah's. For the first time, I see it. Fear. Real, raw fear. I exhale slow and controlled. Let's begin, shall we? And just like that, everything changes. For the first time in my life, I hold the mic. The irony? For years, they treated me like I was nothing. And maybe, for a while, I believed them. Because when the people who are supposed to love you only ever highlight your flaws, it's easy to absorb their lies. Easy to think maybe you are the disappointment they say you are. For years, I let their voices shape me. Noah's endless success. My father's cold judgment. My mother's cutting indifference. Worst of all, I let Olive betray me. I let her take everything and still manage to blame myself. But not anymore. Because what they never cared to ask, what they never even considered, is that I stopped being their scapegoat a long time ago. And tonight, they're about to find out exactly who I've become. To my family, I'm nothing more than a low-income, divorced office clerk barely scraping by in a dead-end job. That's the version of me they chose to believe. But the truth? I run Breaking Free, a global online community for survivors of emotional abuse. What began as an anonymous blog 3 years ago has evolved into a powerful movement, a YouTube channel with millions of subscribers, a nonprofit making real-world change, and a lifeline for countless people trying to escape the kind of toxicity I was raised in. And they have absolutely no idea. My father, Charlie Connor, built a real estate empire from the ground up. My mother, Rachel Connor, secured her place in high society, admired as a woman of grace and influence. My brother, Noah Connor, followed in their footsteps, Harvard graduate, wealthy, and now marrying into another influential family. They are the picture-perfect Connor family. And I'm the blemish, the embarrassment. They never once asked about my life. Never once wondered how I spent my time. Never once considered that I might have something meaningful to offer the world. Because they never cared to know, they never saw what I was building. They never saw the thousands of survivors who found courage in my videos. They never read the messages from people who left abusive homes because of my work. They never watched me speak from stages about emotional resilience. They never saw the best-selling book I published under a pseudonym that became a lifeline to others who, like me, were told they were nothing. They never saw me. But tonight, for the first time, they're about to. This wasn't some impulsive stunt. I didn't walk into this wedding reception unprepared. I spent 2 years quietly gathering evidence, recordings, emails, financial records. I worked alongside lawyers, therapists, and experts in emotional abuse to build an airtight case. I connected with members of my online community, people who knew this pain, who were watching this moment unfold live. I didn't come here just to make a statement. I came to win. And as I glance at my phone, watching the live viewer count soar, I feel something I haven't felt in years: power. Not the kind that comes from status, wealth, or manipulation, the kind my family worships. No, this power comes from truth. From standing firm. From no longer being afraid. The room's energy shifts. I can feel it. People are turning to the massive screen behind Noah, trying to process what they're seeing. I see my father's jaw clench, his fingers wrapped tight around his glass of scotch. I see my mother stiffen, her eyes darting toward my phone, as if she already knows I'm behind this. I see Noah's confident expression dissolve into confusion, then something deeper, unease. And then, the first on-screen notification appears. Live viewers, 850, 1 million, 1.2 million. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Whispers rise. What is this? Why is it live? But I'm not watching them. I'm watching Olive. She's staring at the screen now, her expression blank. And then she sees it. A new message, highlighted in bold, appears on the screen. A comment from her fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. Her face drains of color so quickly I think she might faint. I tilt my head slightly, watching Olive's reaction. She turns toward me, lips parted in disbelief. Ronan, what did you do? I don't answer. I simply raise my glass in a slow, deliberate toast, and for the first time tonight, I smile. The truth will be heard. The murmurs in the room swell. Guests are pulling out their phones, tuning into the live stream that's unfolding right before them. The screen flickers again, and a new message appears. Welcome to Breaking Free Life, the reality of emotional abuse by family. Noah, still gripping the microphone, finally speaks. What the hell is going on? His voice no longer carries the confident, practiced charm. It's edged with panic now. I lean forward slightly, tapping my fingers against my champagne glass. I thought you liked presentations, Noah, I say casually. Since you worked so hard to humiliate me with yours, I figured it was only fair I show the audience a different side of our family. His face tightens. This isn't funny, Ronan. I arch an eyebrow. Oh, I agree. There's nothing funny about it. I glance at the screen, then tap my phone. The first recording plays, clear and loud through the venue's speakers. He's just weak. He never had what it takes to be a Connor. We should have cut him off years ago. My father's voice, Charlie Connor. The room goes utterly silent. I take my time, scanning the room, watching their faces shift. Rachel's hand clenches around her wine glass. Noah's grip on the microphone tightens. Olive flinches. And my father, always so composed, always in control, finally looks unsettled. Then I play the next clip. Ronan is a disappointment. He's infertile. He's weak. He's a failure. I don't even know why we still invite him to family events. Noah's voice. I turn to him, slowly. His forehead is slick with sweat. You were saying? I ask. He takes a step toward me, voice low and shaking with rage. Turn it off. Now. I tilt my head again. Why? Are you ashamed? You weren't ashamed when you said it. He lunges furious, reckless, but I don't move. I don't need to. Not with 1.5 million people watching. Not when every second is being recorded. Not when I hold all the power now. And as I scan the room, watching the cracks spread through their carefully polished facade, I realize something. They will never silence me again. For years I wondered what it would feel like to sit in a room full of people who spent their lives diminishing me, who refused to see me, who wrote me off completely, and finally hold the power. Now I know. And let me tell you, it feels incredible. The moment my father's voice echoes through the speakers, the atmosphere in the ballroom shifts. The illusion crumbles, piece by piece. Noah's mask of smug control slips, replaced with something far more honest, fear. Rachel freezes mid-motion, her wine glass trembling in her hand. Olive grips the tablecloth so tightly. And Charlie Connor, the man who built an empire, who always commands the room, sits pale and unsteady, like he's about to vomit. The guests are whispering now, their voices rising. Did Charlie really say that? Are we being recorded? What is this? My phone buzzes in my palm. The live stream viewer count surges 1.6 million, 1.7, 2 million. This isn't just a scandal anymore. It's a public execution. And I'm the one holding the blade. Noah's panic finally sets in. He slams his microphone down and storms toward me, his pristine wedding tuxedo rumpling with every furious step. Ronan. He snaps, his voice ragged with rage. Turn that off. I look at him, tilting my head like I'm actually giving it some thought. Then I smirk. Why? Feeling exposed? His jaw tightens. You don't know what you're doing. I lean back in my chair, casually tapping my fingers against my phone. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, little brother. I'm just curious how long you can keep pretending. Before the bride walks out. That's it. He snaps. Noah lunges at me, but I don't move. I don't have to. Security intercepts him before he even gets close. Two men in sleek black suits grab him by the arms, halting him mid-charge. You're embarrassing yourself. Noah, I say evenly, my voice calm. That's my job, remember? Scattered gasps ripple through the crowd. Noah thrashes against the guards, face flushed and trembling with fury. You smug little. I press another button. The next recording begins. Ronan was a mistake. My mother's voice. Rachel Connor, the woman who spent her entire life building the perfect image, the perfect family, the perfect lie, now finds herself dead center in a nightmare she can't control. We should have never had him. He's nothing like Noah. Noah is strong. Noah is successful. Ronan is just pathetic. Chaos breaks loose. I hear the sound of glass shattering. Gasps ring out from across the room. All eyes are on my mother, some horrified, some stunned. But the best reaction? Julia, Noah's bride-to-be. Her jaw is set. Her hands tremble at her sides. She turns to my mother, her voice dangerously calm. You said that about your own son? Rachel's eyes widen. She blinks rapidly, breath shallow. That was taken out of context. Oh, it gets better, I interrupt smoothly. Let's hear what she said about you, Julia. Rachel's head snaps toward me. Ronan, don't you dare. I press play. I don't care about that girl. She's just a pretty little pawn for Noah to marry. A social climb. The silence that follows is thunderous. Julia stares at the screen, then at Rachel, then Noah. Her hands are visibly shaking. You used me? She whispers. Noah reaches for her, desperate. Baby, no, she's twisting it. Julia slaps his hand away. The crowd erupts again. Are you serious right now? She hisses. Your whole family treats people like they're disposable, and you expect me to just smile and go along with it? Noah is sweating, his voice cracking. It's not like that. It is exactly like that, I cut in. Welcome to the Connor family, Julia. If you think they ever actually cared about you, you're more naive than I thought. Julia steps back, her voice breaking. You're a fraud, Noah. And your family is disgusting. She rips the engagement ring off her finger and throws it at his chest. I'm done. The ring clatters loudly against the floor. Noah stands frozen, stunned. And just like that, The wedding is over. I barely have a second to savor the moment before my father finally snaps. Enough. Charlie roars, slamming both hands on the table. The entire ballroom jolts. He's on his feet now, face flushed, eyes blazing with hatred, glaring straight at me. You think this makes you powerful? My father spits. You think ruining your family's name makes you a man? I meet his gaze head on, unwavering. No, I say, voice calm and firm. I think surviving you made me a man. The room is silent now, no more whispers, just wide eyes and held breaths. I rise from my chair. Then I press one final button. The killing blow. Charlie Connor has been under investigation for financial fraud for the past 6 months. Chaos explodes. Gasps. Shouts. A collective wave of disbelief. On the massive screen behind me, emails, bank statements, and leaked documents begin to appear. Each one damning. Each one undeniable. My father's face drains of color, the blood vanishing like someone pulled a plug. The last time I saw him look that terrified, I was 10 years old, holding a report card with a single B+. He'd call me useless. A disgrace. A stain on the Connor name. Now he's the disgrace. Now he's the failure. And me? I'm just getting started. The wedding is officially over. Noah's bride is gone. My mother shattered. My father teetering on the edge of legal and financial ruin. And me? I'm walking out with my head high. I glance at my phone, 2.5 million viewers. That's 2.5 million people who finally know the truth. I breathe out slowly. And for the first time in my life, I feel something unexpected. Relief. For the first time ever, I'm not the failure. I'm not the black sheep. I'm not the afterthought. I'm free. As I turn to leave, my father hurls one last attempt to reassert control. Ronan, if you walk out that door, you're dead to this family. I pause. And without turning around, I say the words I've waited a lifetime to speak. I was dead to you a long time ago. Then I step into the night. I don't look back. I leave behind the shattered remains of my brothers, wetting the wreckage of the Connor image. But this isn't the end. Not yet. Exposing the lie of our perfect family. That was just step 1. Now comes step 2. Justice. They mocked me, dismissed me, humiliated me for years. But tonight, I made sure they'll never forget my name. Inside the ballroom, chaos reigns. Noah stands alone, tuxedo wrinkled, stunned. The engagement ring still lies on the floor, exactly where Julia threw it. Charlie Connor, red-faced, furious, watches his business allies quietly begin to distance themselves. Rachel is frozen in place, hand over her mouth, eyes darting like she's searching for the nearest escape. I could walk away, let the wreckage settle, let them try to salvage whatever pieces of their pride remain. But it wouldn't be enough, because one last lie still needs unraveling, and I know exactly how to pull the thread. So I turn. I step back into the ballroom. Instant silence. Every whisper, every murmur dies the second they see me reappear. Noah sees me first. His expression twists fury, hatred, and now fear. Good. I walk calmly, confidently, back toward my seat. I lift my champagne glass and take a slow, deliberate sip before speaking. Well, I say evenly, now that we've had our little intermission, let's move on to the main event. No one moves. The room is tense, breathless. I tap my phone again. The next recording begins. I never loved Ronan. He was just convenient. A hush falls over the room. I don't even need to look. I already know Olive, my ex-wife, has gone pale. The audio plays on. I mean, come on. He's infertile. He's weak. I needed a man who could actually give me a future. Someone like Noah. Gasps ripple through the guests like a shockwave. I turn slowly toward my brother, swirling the champagne in my glass. You know, I say, calm, composed, I always wondered why Olive felt so at home at our family events. Noah stiffens. His eyes flick toward Olive. My mother draws a sharp breath. My father's expression tightens, but he stays silent. He already knows. They all do. Because this betrayal wasn't just mine to carry. It was all of theirs. The screen behind me lights up again, this time, with a text exchange. Olive, I hate sneaking around, baby. I wish we didn't have to hide it. Noah, just hold on a little longer. Ronan will break soon. He's too weak to fight back. Olive, I don't even care if he finds out. He's pathetic. He'll just blame himself like always. Noah, I know. That's why it's so easy. I let it sink in. Let the truth settle over the room like smoke from a long-burning fire. My mother slowly lowers her wine glass, her hands trembling. My father finally speaks, voice low and cold. You slept with your brother's wife? Noah's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Olive looks like she wants to disappear. I should feel hurt, angry, crushed. But the truth is I've known. I just needed the world to hear it from them. I lean forward, resting my forearms on the table. So tell me, I say casually, was it worth it? Noah explodes. This is insane. He yells. You're just trying to destroy me because you're jealous. I raise an eyebrow. Jealous? Of what? Your wrecked engagement? Your crumbling reputation? The fraud empire you built on lies? He slams his fists onto the table, eyes blazing. You don't belong here, he spits. You've always been pathetic. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. I just smirk. Then I press play on the final recording. The lie that held everything together shattered. Ronan isn't infertile. A heavy, echoing silence fills the room. The doctor said he was fine, but we had to make sure people saw Noah as the stronger one. Ronan could never be allowed to be an equal. It had to be Noah. It was always Noah. My father's voice. I turned to him, watching the last pieces of his legacy collapse. And for once he's speechless. Rachel looks like she's about to be sick. Noah looks like he might faint. The guests aren't whispering anymore. They're staring at the Connors like something rotten has finally been dragged into the light. Because that's exactly what they are. I take another sip of champagne. Then I rise from my chair. For years, I say, voice steady, you call me a failure. I gesture to the crowd. You told them I was the disgrace. I look at my father, that I wasn't strong enough. Then to my mother, that I wasn't worth loving. I lock eyes with Noah, that I wasn't even a real man, I say, letting the words hang in the air. Then I smirk. And yet, here we are. I gesture toward the screen at the recordings, the documents, the truth laid bare. Tell me, Noah, who's the failure now? Olive grabs her purse and flees. Noah stumbles backward, staring at the floor like it might swallow him. My mother wipes her hands over her face, for once in her life speechless. My father just sits there, hollow and defeated. And me? I walk toward the exit not as the family embarrassment, not as the outcast, but as the man who finally broke free. I step into the night, inhale the cold air, and let it all fall away. The guilt, the shame, the lies. Gone, like a heavy coat, shrugged off my shoulders. For the first time, I don't carry their words with me. For the first time, I'm truly free. I glance down at my phone. Over 3 million viewers. And I smile. Because now, the entire world knows the truth. I could stop here. Walk away. Let their carefully constructed empire of lies collapse under its own weight. But there's one last deception that still needs to burn. The cruelest lie of them all. The one they used to humiliate me, to strip me of my dignity, to break me down piece by piece. My so-called infertility. And now, with the ballroom in tatters, my mother shell-shocked, my father paralyzed, and Noah standing alone in the wreckage, I deliver the truth. The one that cuts the deepest. They used it as a weapon for years. Ronan can't even give his wife a child. What's the point of a man like that? No wonder Olive left him. What kind of woman stays with a broken man? It's a shame, a stain on the family name. They whispered it behind my back. Spoke it aloud at family dinners. Laughed about it in hushed conversations when they thought I couldn't hear. They made me believe it. And I let them, because when you grow up in a house where your voice doesn't matter, where you're always the afterthought, the mistake, you stop questioning what they say. You accept it as fact. Until one day, you don't. Until one day, you get tested and discover the truth. Not just that they were wrong, but that they lied, that they knew. I step forward as the screen flashes again. A medical document, clinical and undeniable. The title is clear, sharp, impossible to ignore. Patient, Ronan Connor. Fertility assessment results. No issues detected. A silence falls. Not the shocked silence from before. This one is deeper, heavier. I turn to Noah, calm and steady. Well, I say, this is interesting. Because according to the report, I'm perfectly fine. Noah doesn't move. But his eyes, they flicker. Fear. Guilt. Because he knows exactly what comes next. And so do I. I press another button. The screen shifts again. Another medical report appears. Not mine. Patient, Noah Connor. Fertility assessment results. Severe infertility detected. The room goes still. You could hear a pin drop. Noah freezes. The guests stare, whispering in shock. My father grips the edge of the table, his face drained of all color. For the first time tonight, my mother Rachel Connor looks truly horrified. I let the weight of it settle over them. Let them sit in the reality that the very thing they mocked me for, the thing they used to shatter me, was never mine to bear. It was Noah's. Noah lunges toward me. You scumsucker. He snarls, knocking over a champagne glass as he charges. The crowd gasps. I don't move. I don't flinch. I just watch him unravel. Everything he built, every lie he leaned on, collapsing in real time. He doesn't get far. Security intercepts him, restraining him as he thrashes like a wild animal. Ronan. His voice is cracked, frantic. You don't understand. This was supposed to stay private. I raise an eyebrow. Private? I echo, my tone sharp. You mean like my infertility? The one you and Mom turned into a punchline over dinner? You don't get it. Noah's eyes are wide, panicked. I didn't have a choice. He cuts himself off, chest rising and falling rapidly. And that's when it hits me. He knew. Not just knew, he was forced to live the lie. I glance at my father, who still won't look at me. Then at my mother, her lips pressed into a pale, rigid line. And suddenly, everything clicks into place. They built Noah up to be the perfect Connor son. The heir, the image of success, the one meant to carry the family legacy. Infertility didn't fit that image. So they made a choice. They switched it. They made me the failure so Noah could remain the golden boy. They let the lie poison my marriage, taint my identity, destroy my dignity. Also, their illusion could remain intact. I exhale, shaking my head, voice low with disbelief. Wow, I say, thick with mock admiration. You really are pathetic. Noah surges again. Shut up, Ronan. But I don't. I let it all out, razor sharp and unrelenting. You let them use me, I say, each word a blow. You let them humiliate me, destroy my marriage, make me believe I was less than a man. And for what? So you could keep pretending? His face contorts, pure fury and shame battling for dominance. You don't know what it was like. I laugh short, bitter, hollow. I know exactly what it was like. You had everything. And instead of using your position to defend me, you stood by and watched them tear me down. He freezes, breath shallow, fists clenched. You let them break me, I repeat, quiet but cutting. And now? Now you're standing in the wreckage of your wedding. Your business is in shambles. Your fiancé is gone. And the world is watching as it all burns. His hands tremble. His body is shaking. You destroyed me first, I tell him. But I survived it. I lean in slightly, my voice dropping to a low, final note. You? You won't. And with that, I turn my back on him. On my mother's stunned silence. On my father's impotent fury. On all of it. I step off the stage. The damage is done. Around me, the murmurs rise like a tide. Phones are out. Videos are going live. Social media is already alight. I glance at my screen. Live viewers, for million. A news alert flashes. Breaking, scandal erupts at Connor wedding. Family secrets exposed in viral broadcast. I smirk. Good. Let them watch. Let them all see. Because for years, they made me believe I was the weak one. The failure. The disappointment. But now the truth is out. And it's far too late to silence me. It begins subtly, the unraveling like a loose thread tugged from an expensive suit. At first, it's almost imperceptible. But then, before anyone can stop it, the whole thing starts coming apart at the seams. And the best part? They don't even realize how much damage has already been done. Not yet. But they will. The first cracks start to show. Noah is still struggling against the security team, his face contorted with fury and panic. My mother, Rachel, sits frozen in her chair, eyes vacant like she's watching her entire world disintegrate in front of her. My father, Charlie, clings to the last threads of control, holding onto his illusion of power the same way he's always clung to his money, his influence, his name. But the illusion is crumbling fast. I watch as he leans toward Matthew Caldwell, CEO of a multi-million-dollar development firm, and once one of my father's staunchest allies, to whisper something. Matthew doesn't even glance at him. Instead, he quietly murmurs something to his wife and stands up. And just like that, he walks out. Noah sees it. His body tenses. Then another man stands. And another. One by one, the business partners, investors, and executives who once orbited my father like scavengers waiting for a feast are abandoning ship. And Charlie Connor is left clutching nothing but the shattered pieces of his legacy. I glance at my phone. Breaking news. The Connor empire is falling. I smile. Exactly as I planned. Noah finally tears himself away from the guards. He turns to our father, his voice cracking with desperation. Dad, he pleads, say something. Do something. But Charlie says nothing. Because what can he possibly say? That he can fix this? That he can buy his way out of a scandal that's already reached millions? No, not this time. Noah's desperation curdles into rage. He spins toward me, jabbing a trembling finger. This is your fault. He shouts. I tilt my head slightly, amused. You ruined my wedding, my reputation, my whole life. I lift my champagne glass and take a slow sip, savoring every second of his collapse. No, Noah, I say, setting the glass down. You did that to yourself. His hands clench into fists. You think you're better than me? He spits. I lean in, lowering my voice so only he can hear. I don't think. Noah, I murmur. I know. His face twists in fury. He looks like he might lunge again, but there's nothing left to defend, nothing left to salvage. His entire kingdom is already in flames. Then another notification flashes on the ballroom screen. Breaking. SEC investigation launched into Connor Properties. Fraud allegations emerge amid family scandal. The crowd erupts in whispers and gasps. My father slams his hand against the table. This is absurd. He barks. There's no investigation. I chuckle quietly. Not yet, I say. Charlie rounds on me, his face a mask of fury. You did this. I shrug. Let's just say I gave the right people some interesting documents. Noah stiffens. What documents? The screen flashes again. Emails, bank transfers, proof of embezzlement, tax fraud, bribery. Every shady deal my father thought he had buried now laid bare for the world to see. The walls are closing in. Charlie sinks back into his chair, the reality finally sinking in. It's over. Noah's breathing grows shallow, rapid. He grabs our mother's arm. Mom, say something. Fix this. But Rachel Connor is already gone. Not physically, but in every way that counts. She's staring at the screen, at the undeniable truth about her perfect family, and for the first time, she's silent. She knows there's nothing left to say, nothing to fix, nothing to salvage. The business is finished. I rise, slipping my hands into my pockets. You had everything, I say to Noah. Power, wealth, privilege. And yet, here you are with nothing. Noah shakes his head in denial, his voice trembling. This isn't happening. This isn't. It is. I cut him off, my tone steady. And no amount of lies can change that. He stumbles back, his body shaking, then bolts out of the ballroom, running into the night. All that's left behind is the ruins of his father's empire. I glance at Charlie one last time. He doesn't look at me, doesn't say a word. He knows it's over. He knows he's lost. And I've won. I step out into the crisp night air, pulling out my phone. The live stream count is climbing. 5.2 million, 5.4 million, 5.6 million. The world is watching as this empire crumbles, and for the first time, I feel completely free. For years, they tried to break me. They tried to ruin me. But tonight, I showed them who I truly am, and I will never be silenced again. The cool air against my skin is refreshing, liberating, like finally taking a breath after being trapped underwater for far too long. Behind me, my father sits frozen, his empire reduced to rubble in front of the whole world. Noah, once the golden sun, has fled, no longer the untouchable heir, no longer the family's shining example. And my mother? Silent, because for the first time, she has nothing left to say. As for me, I stand tall. After years of humiliation, lies, and exile from my own family, I've won. And the best part? This is only the beginning. My phone buzzes with a new notification. 6 million live viewers. That's 6 million people who just witnessed my family's fall from grace in real time. I take a slow breath, watching the numbers tick upward. I never intended for this to go viral, but I should have known people love a scandal, especially when it's about a powerful, untouchable family crumbling apart. And right now, the Connor name is all over the front page. Another buzz. A call. I glance at the screen. Daniel Reeve, a longtime friend and attorney who specializes in corporate fraud cases. I answer. Ronan. He greets me, his voice smooth and calm. I assume you've seen the news. I have, I reply, walking toward my car. Good, he says. Because I've got some updates. I smirk. Let me guess the feds are after dear old dad. Daniel chuckles. Oh, they're more than interested. They're moving forward. The documents you provided are airtight. There's no way out of this. I lean against my car, watching the ballroom entrance from a distance. How long before the hammer drops? A week, maybe less, Daniel answers. But honestly, he won't even need an arrest to ruin him. His business partners are already cutting ties. Stocks for Connor Properties dropped 40% in the last hour. Investors are panicking. The company is dead. I exhale slowly, letting it sink in. It's happening. Everything he built on lies and cruelty is crumbling. And for once, there's nothing he can do about it. I scroll through the news headlines. The Connor family scandal, infidelity, fraud, and a fall from grace. Ronan Connor exposes his family in shocking live broadcast. Millions watch as SEC investigation into Connor Properties begins. What comes next? I smile to myself. The Connor name, once synonymous with success and power, is now linked to corruption, deception, and downfall. I glance back at the entrance, where reporters are gathering, their cameras flashing as guests rush out of the ballroom, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. I can already picture tomorrow's headlines. The wedding that destroyed a dynasty. Beautiful. Just as I'm about to get into my car, I hear fast, frantic footsteps. I turn, and there he is, Noah. His tuxedo is disheveled, his hair a mess, and his entire body is trembling with rage and desperation. You think this is funny? He spits, his voice raw. I raise an eyebrow. Funny? No. Satisfying. Absolutely. You ruined my life. He snarls. I lean against the car, crossing my arms. Noah, your life was already a disaster. I just turned on the lights so everyone could see it. His breathing is ragged, his hands shaking at his sides. You don't get it, he whispers. You don't know what you've done. I tilt my head. Oh, I think I do. For the first time, you get to see what it's like to be me, the one discarded, the one humiliated, the one they never actually cared about. Noah swallows hard, his Adam's apple bobbing. You should have let it go, he mutters. I push off the car and step toward him. Let it go? I repeat. You spent years tearing me down. You let mom and dad use me as your scapegoat while you basked in their praise. You let Olive cheat on me with you and laugh behind my back. Did you really think I'd let that slide? Did you really think I'd just take it forever? He shakes his head, staring at the ground. For the first time, Noah Connor looks truly broken, not the cocky golden son, not the arrogant, untouchable heir, but just a man with nothing left. I should feel bad, but I don't, because he did this to himself. Goodbye, Noah, I say, stepping back. I get into my car, leaving him standing in the ruins of his own making. A week later, I sit in a high-rise office in downtown Manhattan. The view is breathtaking. Skyscrapers stretch across the skyline, the city humming beneath me. But my focus is on the TV screen in the corner. Breaking news. Former real estate tycoon Charlie Connor under federal investigation for fraud. I sip my coffee, watching as my father is escorted out of his office in handcuffs. The once untouchable king of real estate is now a disgraced criminal. As for Noah, no one has seen him since that night. Rumors say he left the city, disappeared to avoid the shame. My mother? She's keeping a low profile, hiding from the public eye. As for me, I turn my attention to the desk in front of me, where a new contract sits. It's a deal with one of the biggest publishing houses in the country. My second book, an in-depth memoir about my journey, my family, and how I rose from the ashes of their abuse, is already a guaranteed bestseller. I pick up my pen, sign my name at the bottom of the contract, and just like that, I close the chapter on my past and step into my future. A year later, the Barnes & Noble in downtown Manhattan is packed. Hundreds of people stand in line, holding copies of my new book, In the Truth We Bury. At the signing table, I greet each reader, signing their books and shaking their hands. Many of them share their own stories of surviving emotional abuse and finding strength through my journey. For the first time in my life, I know I have a purpose. I am not the failure my family tried to make me believe I was. I am stronger than them, better than them. As I sign the last book, I write the same words I always do. Your voice has power. Don't be silent anymore. And this time, I truly believe it. It's been a year since I brought down the Connor empire, a year since I stood in that ballroom and watched everything they built collapse under the weight of their own lies, a year since I turned my pain into power, my humiliation into vindication, a year since I won. And yet, standing here now in front of a packed bookstore in Manhattan, I realize something: this isn't just about winning. It never was. It's about something bigger, something greater than revenge, something greater than me. It's about every single person who has ever been told they are nothing. Tonight, my final message isn't just for my family, it's for all of them. The book signing event at Barnes & Noble is overflowing. People stand shoulder to shoulder, holding copies of In the Truth We Bury, waiting for their turn to meet me. The energy in the room is electric, excited, empowered. This isn't just a book signing, it's a movement. I sit at the table near the front of the store, a massive banner with my face hanging behind me. I never imagined I'd be here, that people would actually care about my story, that I'd become someone worth listening to. Yet, here I am, signing books, taking pictures, hearing their stories. Because, as it turns out, my story isn't just mine, it belongs to every person who has ever been dismissed, ridiculed, and broken by the people who were supposed to love them. And now, we are all breaking free together. I flip open another book, my pen hovering over the first page. What's your name? I ask the woman in front of me. She shifts nervously, gripping the hardcover like it's a lifeline. Amelia, she says softly. I smile. Nice to meet you, Amelia. Her eyes shine with unshed tears. I just wanted to say your book changed my life, she whispers. I left an abusive home because of your story. I finally had the courage to walk away. A lump forms in my throat. This is why I did it. Not for revenge, not for fame, but for this. For people like Amelia, for the ones who needed a voice when they had none. I squeeze her hand gently before handing her the signed book. Your voice matters, I tell her. Never let anyone silence you again. She nods, tears slipping down her cheeks, before walking away. Just as I reach for the next book, I see her, a woman standing at the very back of the line. Her clothes are simple, jeans, a sweater, no jewelry, no makeup. Her once flawless, expensive appearance is gone. And yet, I know exactly who she is because I never forget a ghost from my past. Rachel Connor, my mother, stands motionless, her eyes locked on mine. Hesitation seeps into every line of her posture. I watch her, waiting. I should have seen this coming. Sooner or later she was bound to find me. But the difference between then and now is clear. I no longer fear her. I own my story now. She no longer has the power to rewrite it. Finally, After what feels like an eternity, she steps forward. The people in line glance at her, whispering, murmuring. They know who she is, and they know what she did. But she doesn't acknowledge them. Her gaze is fixed solely on me. "Ronan," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't respond immediately. Honestly, I don't know what she wants: apology, forgiveness, or just one last chance to manipulate me. She clears her throat. "I read your book," she continues, every word of it. I raise an eyebrow. "That must have been difficult for you." She flinches. "Good. Reading about the pain she caused is nowhere near as difficult as living through it." She shifts uncomfortably. "I wanted to come sooner, but I wasn't sure if you'd even speak to me." I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. "Well, here I am," I say. "Speak." The bookstore falls dead silent. All eyes are on us. She hesitates again before exhaling sharply. "I was wrong," she says at last. The words are shaky, foreign, like she's never had to say them before. But I don't let her off that easily. "Wrong about what?" I press. She swallows. "About you. About everything. I let your father dictate how I treated you. I let Noah become the priority. I told myself it was just the way things had to be. The way things had to be?" I repeat, tilting my head. "You mean choosing to humiliate me at every opportunity, turning your back when I needed you, laughing at my pain?" She closes her eyes briefly. "I was weak," she whispers. "I was a coward. For the first time, I see something I never thought I would. Real, raw guilt. But I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if it ever could be." She looks at me again. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," she says quietly, "but I wanted to tell you that I'm trying." I nod. "Trying?" She nods again. "I left your father," she admits. "I started therapy. I moved to a small town outside the city. No more high society. No more pretending. Just me." I study her carefully. This isn't the same Rachel Connor who sat at that wedding a year ago, sipping wine while I was humiliated. This is a woman who has lost everything. And yet, the question remains, is it enough? I take a deep breath. "I don't know if I can forgive you," I admit. She nods, as if she already expected that. But I continue. "I hope, for your sake, you keep trying to be better." A flicker of something crosses her face. "Hope." She nods again. "I will." And with that, she turns and leaves. No grand reconciliation. No perfect ending. Just two people acknowledging the damage and choosing to walk separate paths. And for me, that's enough. As the night draws to a close, I sign the last book and stand, stretching. It's been a long journey, a painful one, but I made it. I broke free. And now, as I look out at the people who have found strength in my story, I realize something. This was never just about me. It was about every single person who has ever felt small, unworthy, unseen. And now, we see each other. I take one last deep breath, lift my pen, and sign the final book of the night, writing the same words I always do, the words I live by now. Your voice has power. Don't be silent anymore. Because I never will be. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.